Whew, man, let's get right into the video. I thought I would make a video on the Calgary Flames because they have been unbelievably impressive lately. I didn't even think they were going to have a 3-game winning streak this entire season. But they have started 3-0 and beat the Oilers. So look at that. Now, I am obviously not convinced, although I will say that it would be pretty satisfying for them to have a good season. The main reason why I believe that is because, literally everybody bounced on them, which I think was a little bit unfair. I mean, Huberdeau has not been good since his contract started, but, everybody bounced on them. It was kind of weird. And Jonathan Huberdeau does look to have 6 points in 4 games. Now, I don't know if he can keep this up. His start of his contract has been really, really bad. The first couple of years have been about as worse as a contract can go. Jonathan Huberdeau he had the most drop in offensive production in NHL history. This is really, really bad stuff. And honestly, I felt bad for the Flames because I thought that trade was actually really, really good. When they made that trade, I was like, wow, they got good value from Florida. They're going to be able to remain to be a competitive team. And then their entire team just fell off like flies. Everybody just started leaving. And, you do also have Nazem Kadri with 4 points in 4 games as well. Now, I don't know which way to think of this with the Flames because I would love Jonathan Huberdeau to keep up this production, and I'm going to say something spicy right now. I would like him to keep up this production so the Flames can offload that contract straight up. You know what I mean? You do not want to have that contract on your books, right? Especially when you are in a rebuild. Now, maybe they can make the rebuild faster. Maybe you could just keep Huberdeau or something, and maybe on the other side you could keep him, and it would make sense to keep him. But I still think they're going to be in the rebuild for at least 3 to 4 years, even if they do ship him off or keep him. They have allowed 10 goals in that period of time, which isn't actually that horrible, but we got to keep in mind, though, they've scored an average of 4.75 goals a game in these 3 games. They are not going to keep that up. Their offense is not going to be that good through think about it. The highest scoring teams in the league, the Colorado Avalanche and the Maple Leafs last year, they scored about just over 3 goals per game, right? So they're not going to score 4.75. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. One other very positive thing about this season is going to be the fact that they are going to be able to give Dustin Wolf a chance, and a big chance. If you look at Dustin Wolf's statistics through his 2 games, but not even just his 2 games, I love looking at goaltenders' American Hockey League stats, both how many games they were able to play, which is important, right? The best ability is availability, and what their save percentage is overall. He has really, really, really good numbers in the AHL. This is a goalie that I'm not exactly sure how to analyze goalies because they are some of the most random things on a hockey team. But my friends, he has been really, really, really good. And through 2 games, he is killing it out there. He has a .944 save percentage and a 2.02 goals against. If they can score around somewhat above average and they can keep getting good goaltending, I actually do think that it is relatively possible that they could make the playoffs, right? Now, this isn't a sure thing, but if Dustin Wolf goes off and they can get some goaltending, why not? It's not like their division is that good. They have the Oilers, who are off to a really difficult start, Seattle Kraken. They have Anaheim and San Jose in their division, which, they're not going to be good. With a little bit of luck, you never know, man. Sometimes you have a surprise team that just works hard, gets some good goaltending, and they make the playoffs. Now, the discussion then goes to, if this team can compete, let's say, if they can build off of this, like they're not going to be able to keep scoring 4.75 goals a game. That's not going to happen. Let's say they can build off of this. Does it make sense for them to even make the playoffs? I am not sure, actually, about that. It actually might make sense for them to tank out. But sometimes when teams get into not making the playoffs, it's not that easy to make the playoffs again, if you understand what I mean, because you run into situations where you could be like the Buffalo Sabres. You could just be like a forever team that just never makes the playoffs and always just tanks out, right? Like you can get stuck in like a vortex of just being bad all the time. This is why I'm not necessarily sure if I actually like teams that just constantly tank out. So drop your comments. Do you believe that this is the best thing for the Flames, is to keep on competing? I'm starting to realize that always being bad doesn't necessarily always work. Now, for the Maple Leafs, it worked really well, but the reason it worked well for the Leafs is because they just nailed a couple of draft picks in a row, right? They nailed the Nylander pick, then they nailed the Marner pick, and they nailed the Matthews pick. And when you nail that many picks in a row, you're just going to be good. But here's the thing. You need to hit on picks, and picks in the draft, even if it's top 10, are just as easy to miss as they are get a player. You could get a player like a Mikko Rantanen or a David Pastrnak, or you get another player that just busts out like a Nail Yakupov, and it could take forever to rebuild your franchise, right? It depends. So I'm not necessarily sure what's better for the Calgary Flames. You know what? I'm going to pick the side of making the playoffs and competing. Even if they don't make the playoffs, what's wrong with competing? You know what I mean? Give your fan base something to cheer about. But hey, you know what? I'm proud of the Flames. I hope they do compete, but I'm going to leave this video here. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate that, and have a great day, guys. Goodbye.